Searching for that special Christian gift? We've got you covered. Welcome to BibleTales963.store, your one-stop shop for everything Christian-themed. From stunning jewelry to heartwarming home decor, we've got it all. Looking for something unique? Check out our custom-designed apparel and personalized Bibles. Imagine gifting your loved ones something that truly resonates with their faith. Our products are perfect for birthdays, holidays, baptisms, or just because. And the best part? They're all affordable and family-friendly. Join our community of faith-filled shoppers and find meaningful gifts that inspire. Plus, every purchase supports ethical sourcing and sustainable practices. So why wait? Visit BibleTales963.store today and give the gift of faith that will be cherished forever. Find the perfect expression of your faith. Shop now at BibleTales963.store.
The Book of Numbers is the fourth book in the Hebrew Bible. It tells the story of the Israelites' journey from Mount Sinai to the edge of the Promised Land. This book gets its name from the census or counting of the Israelites. This census happens at the beginning of the book. This book is a journey through the wilderness, full of challenges and triumphs. The Israelites faced many challenges on their journey. They had to learn how to live together as a community. They had to trust God to provide for them, and they had to be obedient to God's laws. Despite these challenges, the Israelites also experienced many triumphs. They received God's law at Mount Sinai. They built the tabernacle, a portable tent where God's presence resided. And they eventually reached the edge of the Promised Land. The Book of Numbers is a story of faith, obedience, and God's faithfulness. It reminds us that even when we face challenges, God is always with us. He will provide for us and guide us to our destination. At the beginning of Numbers, God instructs Moses to count the Israelites. This wasn't a simple head count. This census aimed to organize the Israelites for their journey and future as a nation. Each man over 20 years old, except the Levites, was counted. The total number of Israelite men was 603,550. This number shows how large and powerful the Israelite nation had become. Imagine a massive crowd of people all ready to follow God's commands. The Israelites were then organized into 4 camps, each named after a different tribe. Each camp had its own flag, a symbol of their identity. They camped around the tabernacle, the sacred tent where God's presence resided. This careful organization ensured that the Israelites could travel and camp in an orderly manner. It also emphasized their identity as a chosen people, united under God's leadership. Unlike other Israelite tribes, the Levites were not counted in the general census. They had a special role. They were chosen by God to serve him and assist the priests who were descendants of Aaron. The Levites were responsible for taking care of the tabernacle and its sacred objects. The Levites were divided into 3 families: the Gershonites, Kohathites, and Merarites. Each family had specific duties related to the transportation and care of the tabernacle. The Levites dedicated their lives to serving God and the Israelite community. They ensured the smooth running of religious ceremonies and the preservation of the Israelites' sacred objects. Their service was essential for maintaining the Israelites' relationship with God. Section 4. Keeping clean purity laws and offerings. The Israelites received many laws from God. These laws covered many aspects of life, including how to stay clean. These laws might seem strange today, but they were important for the Israelites' well-being. The Israelites had to wash themselves and their clothes regularly. They also had to make offerings to God to atone for their sins. These practices helped them stay healthy and reminded them of God's holiness. The laws also addressed situations like dealing with skin diseases and suspected infidelity. These laws aimed to maintain purity within the camp and provide a means of resolving disputes and restoring relationships, like comment, subscribe, and hit the bell for notifications. To support this channel, visit our Christian-themed store at BibleTales963.store. Every purchase really helps to bring you more content. Section 5. Special promises, Nazirite vows, and the priestly blessing. In Numbers, we also learn about special vows that some Israelites could make. These vows were called Nazirite vows. People who took these vows promised to live a very strict life. Nazirites couldn't cut their hair or drink wine. These outward signs symbolized their dedication to God. The Nazirite vow was a way for individuals to show their devotion to God in a special way. Numbers also gives us the words of a special blessing that the priests would give to the Israelites. This blessing is known as the priestly blessing. It's a beautiful prayer asking for God's protection and peace. Section 6. Dedication and departure, from altar to journey. The tabernacle, the portable tent where God resided among the Israelites, was ready. It was time for a special ceremony, its dedication. Each leader of the 12 tribes brought offerings to God. These offerings included wagons, oxen, silver, and gold. These valuable gifts demonstrated the Israelites' reverence for God and their commitment to worshipping Him. The dedication of the altar marked the beginning of the tabernacle's use as the center of Israelite worship. After the dedication, God gave the signal. The Israelites were to leave Mount Sinai and continue their journey. This was a significant moment. They were leaving the familiar for the unknown, trusting God to guide them. Section 7. Guidance and signals, the cloud and the silver trumpets. As the Israelites journeyed through the wilderness, they needed a guide. God provided them with a visible sign, a cloud. This cloud rested above the tabernacle, indicating God's presence. When the cloud moved, the Israelites packed up their belongings and followed. When the cloud stopped, they set up camp. The cloud represented God's constant presence and guidance. God also instructed Moses to make 2 silver trumpets. These trumpets were used to signal the community. Different trumpet blasts indicated different instructions, such as when to gather or when to set out on a journey. The trumpets served as a practical way to communicate with the vast Israelite community, ensuring order and coordination in their movements and gatherings. The cloud and the trumpets were visible and audible reminders of God's presence and guidance in the Israelites' lives.
The book of Numbers tells a story of the Israelites' journey through the wilderness. God had freed them from slavery in Egypt. He promised them a land of their own, a land flowing with milk and honey. Their journey was not easy. They faced challenges and temptations. They often forgot God's faithfulness. Numbers 11 through 19 teaches us about the consequences of disobedience. It also reminds us of God's constant love and forgiveness. Numbers shows us the importance of trusting God. It reminds us to be thankful for His blessings. Most importantly, it teaches us about the power of faith and obedience. Let's explore some key events from Numbers 11 through 19. We will see how the Israelites struggled with their faith. We will witness God's responses to their actions. The Israelites were God's chosen people. He had a special plan for them. He wanted to bless them and make them a great nation. But they had to learn to trust Him. They had to learn to obey His commands. This was their part of the covenant. The wilderness journey was a test. It was a time for the Israelites to grow in their faith. It was a time to learn dependence on God. Would they pass the test? Let's find out. The Israelites had been traveling for some time. They began to complain. They grumbled about the lack of variety in their food. They missed the fish, cucumbers, melons, leeks, onions, and garlic they had enjoyed in Egypt. They even wished they had stayed in slavery. At least they had food there. Their complaints angered God. He had provided for them. He had sent manna from heaven every day. But they were focused on what they didn't have. They had forgotten God's goodness. God decided to teach them a lesson. He sent them quail, so many that they covered the ground. The people ate their fill. But their greed had consequences. God sent a plague. Many people died. This event teaches us an important lesson. Complaining and ungratefulness displease God. When we focus on what we lack, we forget to appreciate His blessings. The Israelites struggled with more than just food. They also challenged their leaders. Miriam and Aaron, Moses' siblings, criticized his leadership. They questioned his authority because he had married a Cushite woman. Their jealousy angered God. Miriam was struck with a skin disease. She was covered in white patches. Moses pleaded for her healing. God relented, but Miriam had to live outside the camp for 7 days as a reminder of her sin. Later, a man named Korah led a rebellion against Moses and Aaron. Korah and his followers claimed they were just as holy as Moses. They challenged his right to lead. God responded swiftly and decisively. The earth opened up and swallowed Korah, his family, and all his followers. Fire came down from heaven and consumed the 250 men who had offered incense without authorization. These events demonstrate the seriousness of challenging God's chosen leaders. They are appointed by God and accountable to Him. We must respect and follow their guidance. Section 4. A crisis of faith, the spies, and the refusal to enter Canaan. The Israelites approached the Promised Land. Moses sent 12 spies to scout it out. They were to bring back a report about the land and its inhabitants. 10 of the spies returned with a discouraging report. They described the land as fruitful, but inhabited by giants and fortified cities. They said, "We seemed like grasshoppers in our own eyes, and we looked the same to them." Only 2 spies, Caleb and Joshua, urged the people to trust God. They said, "We should go up and take possession of the land, for we can certainly do it." Fear gripped the Israelites. They listened to the negative report. They grumbled against Moses and Aaron. They even talked about choosing a new leader and returning to Egypt. They had lost sight of God's promises. They let fear paralyze them. God was deeply grieved by their lack of faith. He declared that generation would not enter the promised land. They would wander in the wilderness for 40 years until all those who had rebelled had died. This story is a powerful reminder of the importance of faith and obedience. When we doubt God's promises, we limit His power in our lives. Like, comment, subscribe, and hit the bell for notifications. To support this channel, visit our Christian-themed store at BibleTales963.store. Every purchase helps bring you more content. Section 5. Rituals and Regulations. Maintaining holiness in the wilderness. In the midst of their wilderness journey, God gave the Israelites detailed instructions about worship and ritual purity. They were to bring offerings and sacrifices to atone for their sins. He established a system of priests and Levites to serve in the tabernacle. He provided guidelines for daily living, including the observance of Sabbath and festivals. One notable ritual involved the ashes of a red heifer. These ashes were used for purification from corpse contamination. This ceremony symbolized the cleansing power of God. It reminded the Israelites of their need for spiritual purity. These regulations might seem tedious, but they served an important purpose. They set the Israelites apart as holy people. They provided a framework for worship and a way to approach a holy God. Even in the wilderness, God desired a relationship with His people. He wanted them to experience His presence and live in obedience to His commands. Section 6. God's faithfulness amidst unfaithfulness. Throughout Numbers 11 to 19, we see a recurring theme: God's faithfulness in the face of human unfaithfulness. The Israelites grumbled, complained, and disobeyed. They tested God's patience time and again. Yet He continued to provide for them. He gave them food, water, and protection. He never abandoned them, even when they turned away from Him. God's faithfulness is a testament to His unconditional love and mercy. He desires our good, even when we don't deserve it. He is patient with our weaknesses and faithful to His promises. The story of the Israelites in the wilderness is a story for all time. It reminds us that God is always with us. Even in our darkest moments, He is faithful even when we are not. Section 7. Conclusion. Lessons from the wilderness. The events of Numbers 11 to 19 offer timeless lessons for us today. They teach us the importance of gratitude. Complaining and ungratefulness lead to dissatisfaction and spiritual blindness. The dangers of disobedience. Rebellion against God and His appointed leaders has serious consequences. The power of faith. Faith in God's promises empowers us to overcome fear and adversity. The need for holiness. God desires us to live lives set apart for His glory. The unwavering faithfulness of God. God is always with us, providing for us, and guiding us, even when we stray. As we navigate the challenges of our own lives, May we remember the lessons learned by the Israelites in the wilderness. Let us cultivate hearts of gratitude, obedience, and faith, trusting in the one who is always faithful.
I wasn't sure what the fuss was about until I snuggled up with this throw blanket, and wow, I'm hooked. I love its soft and cozy feel against my skin, wrapping me like a warm hug. The vibrant colors and design make it a statement piece in my living space, adding a touch of style and comfort. It's surprisingly lightweight, but still keeps me warm. Perfect for those lazy Netflix nights or chilly mornings. With the variety of sizes available, you can easily find the perfect fit for your couch or bed. Honestly, it's the perfect blend of function and fashion, and I can't imagine my home without it. This is more than just a blanket. It's a game changer for comfort lovers. Go get yours now.
The Book of Numbers, a testament to the Israelites' journey through the wilderness, unveils profound lessons about faith, obedience, and the nature of God. Chapters 20 through 25 in particular offer a poignant tapestry of challenges, victories, and divine interventions, reminding us that even amidst trials, God's presence and promises remain. This chapter in the Israelites' story serves as a mirror to our own lives, reflecting the complexities of faith and the consequences of our choices. These chapters unveil the Israelites grappling with dwindling resources, hostile neighbors, and their own internal struggles. From the death of their leaders to miraculous victories against formidable foes, the Israelites experience the full spectrum of human emotion and spiritual testing. Yet through it all, God's guiding hand remains evident, reminding us that even in the wilderness, His faithfulness endures. Join us as we journey through Numbers 20 through 25, exploring the profound lessons embedded within these ancient narratives. We will witness the passing of Miriam and Aaron, the disobedience of Moses, and the miraculous provision of water from a rock. We will delve into the blessings bestowed upon Israel through Balaam, a prophet hired to curse them, and confront the consequences of their sin at Peor. Through these stories, we will uncover timeless truths about the human condition, the nature of God, and the enduring power of faith. Prepare to be challenged, inspired, and transformed as we uncover the epic tales woven within Numbers 20 through 25. Chapter 20 begins with a somber note: the death of Miriam, sister of Moses and Aaron. Miriam, a prophetess in her own right, had played a pivotal role in Israel's story. She had watched over the infant Moses, led the women in celebratory song after crossing the Red Sea, and stood beside her brothers as they guided the Israelites. Her death at Kadesh marks the end of an era, a poignant reminder of the passage of time and the inevitable transitions that life brings. The Israelites, accustomed to Miriam's wisdom and leadership, mourn her passing deeply. Her absence leaves a void, a reminder of the sacrifices and losses endured on their arduous journey. Yet even in death, Miriam's legacy endures. She is remembered for her unwavering faith, her courage in challenging Pharaoh, and her leadership among the women. Her story reminds us that even in a male-dominated society, women played vital roles in shaping Israel's destiny. Miriam's life serves as an inspiration, a testament to the enduring power of faith and the importance of women in leadership. Her story echoes through generations, reminding us that God uses ordinary individuals, both men and women, to accomplish extraordinary things. Her death, though sorrowful, marks the completion of a life well lived, a life dedicated to God and His people. Following Miriam's death, the Israelites face another crisis, a lack of water. Their thirst becomes unbearable, leading them to grumble against Moses and Aaron, questioning their leadership and God's faithfulness. "Why have you brought us up out of Egypt to die in the wilderness?" They cry out in despair. Their frustration, born out of desperation, reveals the fragility of human faith when confronted with adversity. God instructs Moses to speak to a rock, promising that water will flow out, quenching the thirst of the people and their livestock. This act would serve as a visible reminder of God's provision and care, even in the harshest of environments. However, Moses, overcome by frustration and anger, disobeys God's command. Instead of speaking to the rock, he strikes it twice with his staff. Water gushes out, satisfying the people's thirst, but Moses' disobedience carries severe consequences. God, angered by Moses' lack of trust and his failure to uphold God's holiness before the people, declares that neither Moses nor Aaron will enter the promised land. This pivotal moment reveals the weight of leadership and the importance of obedience, even amidst immense pressure. Moses, despite his close relationship with God, faces the consequences of his actions, reminding us that God holds all accountable for their choices. The miracle of water from the rock, though a testament to God's provision, is overshadowed by the consequences of human error. Section 4. Edom's refusal, a roadblock on the path to promise. As the Israelites journey towards the promised land, they encounter another obstacle, the refusal of Edom, descendants of Esau, to grant them passage through their land. Moses, seeking a peaceful resolution, sends messengers to the king of Edom, promising to stay on the main road, purchase any food or water they consume, and refrain from any harm. However, the Edomites, harboring ancient grudges and fearing for their own security, flatly refuse Israel's request, even assembling an army to block their path. This rejection, fueled by fear and resentment, forces the Israelites to take a longer, more arduous route around Edom's territory. Edom's refusal serves as a stark reminder of the enduring power of past conflicts and the challenges of reconciliation. It highlights the human tendency to hold on to grudges, even when offered opportunities for peace and cooperation. This event underscores the importance of forgiveness and the need to overcome historical animosity in order to move forward. The Israelites, though disappointed by Edom's refusal, choose not to engage in battle. Instead, they trust in God's guidance and continue their journey, demonstrating resilience and a commitment to seeking a peaceful resolution wherever possible. Their response, though challenging, exemplifies the importance of choosing peace over retaliation. Like, comment, subscribe, and hit the bell for notifications. To support this channel, visit our Christian-themed store at BibleTales963.store. Every purchase really helps to bring you more content. Section 5. The high priest departs. Aaron's ascent to Mount Hor. In Numbers chapter 20 verses 22 to 29, tragedy strikes again as God declares that Aaron, Moses' brother and the high priest of Israel, will not enter the promised land. This decree comes as a consequence of Aaron's participation in Moses' disobedience at Meribah, where they struck the rock instead of speaking to it. God instructs Moses to take Aaron and his son Eleazar up Mount Hor. There, in the presence of Moses, Aaron's priestly garments are removed and placed upon Eleazar, signifying the transfer of his priestly duties. Aaron dies on the mountaintop, and the Israelites mourn his passing for 30 days. Aaron's death marks the loss of another key figure from Israel's Exodus generation. As high priest, he played a crucial role in mediating between God and the people, offering sacrifices and interceding on their behalf. His absence leaves a void in the religious and social fabric of the Israelite community. However, Aaron's legacy, like Miriam's, continues through his son, Eleazar, who assumes the mantle of high priest. This transition ensures the continuity of religious leadership and the preservation of the priesthood within the tribe of Levi. Aaron's death, though sorrowful, paves the way for a new generation of leadership to emerge, one that will lead the Israelites into the promised land. Section 6. Healing, Battles, and Blessings. As the Israelites continue their journey, they face numerous challenges and receive divine interventions. Their path is marked by moments of healing, fierce battles, and unexpected blessings. Despite the hardships, the Israelites remain steadfast in their faith, trusting in God's promises. Each trial they encounter serves to strengthen their resolve and unity as a people destined for the promised land. Through it all, they learn valuable lessons about obedience, trust, and the enduring power of God's covenant with his people. Section 7. A tumultuous path to the promised land. The journey to the promised land is fraught with difficulties and uncertainties. The Israelites navigate through a landscape filled with both physical and spiritual trials. Along the way, they encounter hostile nations, internal strife, and moments of doubt. Yet, through perseverance and divine guidance, they press on towards their ultimate destination. This tumultuous path underscores the complexities of faith and the resilience required to fulfill God's promises. It is a testament to the enduring spirit of the Israelites and their unwavering commitment to reaching the promised land, despite the many obstacles in their way. The Book of Numbers. It's not the most glamorous title, is it? It sounds a bit dry, a bit dusty, like an old textbook left too long on a high shelf, but don't let the name fool you. This book is anything but boring. It's a story of faith, rebellion, and God's unwavering love for his people even when they stray. Numbers picks up the story of the Israelites in the wilderness. They've escaped slavery in Egypt and witnessed miracles at the Red Sea and Mount Sinai. Now they stand on the edge of a new chapter, the promise of a homeland. But the journey is far from over. Through it all, we see the faithfulness of God and the importance of trusting in his plan, even when the path ahead seems uncertain. Imagine a vast plain, stretching as far as the eye can see. Thousands upon thousands of people gathered, their tents dotting the landscape like stars scattered across the night sky. This is the scene in Numbers 26, where we encounter the second census of the Israelites. The first census, conducted shortly after the Exodus, had revealed a people burgeoning with new life and hope. Now, after years of wandering, a new generation had risen. Each tribe was carefully enumerated, their names and lineages recorded for posterity. The Levites, set apart for sacred service, were counted separately, their role as spiritual leaders reaffirmed. The census revealed that none of the generation who had left Egypt save for Joshua and Caleb remained. This act of counting wasn't merely about numbers, it was a tangible expression of God's order, his meticulous care for his people. As they prepared to enter Canaan, this census served as a powerful symbol of hope, reminding them that God was with them, ordering their steps. The story of Zelophehad's daughters, nestled within the legal pronouncements of Numbers, shines with remarkable relevance even today. These 5 sisters, orphaned by their father's death, found themselves facing a societal norm that threatened their future. In ancient Israel, land inheritance was passed down through the male line. Without a brother, Zelophehad's daughters faced the prospect of losing their family's stake in the Promised Land. But these women were not content to accept their fate passively. With remarkable courage, they approached Moses and presented their case. "Why should our father's name disappear from his clan because he had no son?" they asked. "Give us property among our father's relatives." Numbers 27:4. Their plea wasn't merely about land, it was about justice, identity, and a woman's place in society. God listened to their petition and declared that they were indeed entitled to inherit their father's property. This divine decree set a precedent, establishing a legal safeguard for women's inheritance rights. Section 4. Passing the torch, a new leader arises. The wilderness journey had been long, fraught with challenges that tested the Israelites' faith at every turn. Through it all, Moses had stood at the helm, their unwavering leader, their conduit to God. But as they neared the Promised Land, a sense of transition filled the air. Moses, advanced in years, knew his time was drawing near. God had already chosen a successor, Joshua, a man of unwavering faith and courage. In a poignant ceremony described in Numbers 27, Moses formally commissions Joshua as his successor. With the elders of Israel gathered around, Moses laid his hands on Joshua, transferring not just authority, but also a portion of the Spirit that had guided him. This act was both symbolic and deeply spiritual. It signified a transfer of power, of responsibility, and of divine anointing. Section 5. Sacred rituals, offerings and vows. The aroma of burning incense mingles with the bleating of lambs. The priest, clad in white linen, raises his hands in prayer as the smoke ascends towards heaven. This is a glimpse into the world of sacrifices and offerings that formed a central part of Israelite worship. Numbers 28-29 provides a detailed account of the various offerings required of the Israelites. These weren't mere empty rituals, they were tangible expressions of devotion, gratitude, and atonement. Each offering, from the daily burnt offerings to the elaborate sacrifices during festivals, pointed towards their dependence on God and their desire to live in right relationship with Him. The burnt offering, for instance, spoke of complete surrender and dedication to God. The peace offering symbolized reconciliation and fellowship, and the sin offering served as a powerful reminder of the consequences of sin and the need for atonement. Beyond sacrifices, the Israelites also made vows to God, promises of devotion or self-denial made in exchange for His blessing or deliverance. These detailed instructions underscore a profound truth. True worship involves more than just words, like comment, subscribe, and hit the bell for notifications. To support this channel, visit our Christian-themed store at BibleTales963.store. Every purchase really helps to bring you more content. Section 6. A Time for Justice. The War Against Midian. The Israelites' journey was not without conflict. Surrounding them were nations whose idolatry and hostility posed a constant threat. Numbers 31 recounts one such conflict, the war against the Midianites. This wasn't a war of conquest or territorial ambition, it was a war of justice, a divine judgment against the Midianites for their role in leading the Israelites astray through idolatry and immorality. The Israelites emerged victorious, defeating the Midianite armies and executing their kings, including Balaam. The spoils of war were divided according to God's instructions, with a portion dedicated to the Lord as a tribute to his sovereignty. The war against Midian served as a stark reminder that God is holy and just, and that there are consequences for leading his people astray. Section 7. Land of Promise, Boundaries and Belonging. After decades of wandering, the Promised Land lay before them, a land flowing with milk and honey. But before the Israelites could settle down and enjoy its bounty, clear boundaries had to be established. Numbers 34 describes in meticulous detail the geographical boundaries of Canaan. Each border, each landmark, was divinely ordained, outlining the inheritance God had promised to Abraham and his descendants. This wasn't just about dividing land, it was about establishing order, preventing future disputes, and ensuring that each tribe had a place to call home. Within these boundaries lay 6 designated cities of refuge, safe havens for those who had unintentionally killed someone. These cities, described in Numbers 35, offered protection from revenge killings and ensured that justice was served through due process. As the Israelites prepared to inherit their promised land, these provisions served as a blueprint for a just and equitable society, a testament to God's meticulous care and foresight.